Hi, Lori, GLP-1 Journey in Review. Today we have Raquel and we're going to talk to her about her GLP-1 journey. We're doing a video in my interview series where I talk to people about their GLP-1 journeys. Uh, I am not a healthcare provider. My guest is not a healthcare provider. We're just talking about what works for us. If you find this useful at all, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help. Raquel, will you tell us a little something about yourself?
Hi, thank you, Laurie, for inviting me on to this interview. I'm not a YouTuber, so this is the very first time that anyone's interviewed me on YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. So I'm 53 years old, coming
Mhm.
up to 53 on Thursday.
Happy birthday.
And thank you. And I'm originally from Spain. My parents are French. My mum was Parisian, and my father was from Guadeloupe. They emigrated to Spain, and I was born there. So I have a dual nationality, French and Spanish. And then when I was 7, coming up to 8 years old, they emigrated to England in Northampton, which is
Mhm.
where I've lived ever since. We came here in April 1980. Um, and yeah, just go ahead and ask me whatever questions you want, Laurie. I'll be happy to answer them about my journey. Um, I, I would like to start by saying that I was always a very big baby. And I think this is where my troubles started. I'll do it in pounds so that your American viewers understand.
Mm.
But when I say I was a big baby, I was 13 pounds when I was born.
Wow.
Yeah, my mum was 4 foot nothing, as I say, 4 foot 12, tiny little lady who'd had. I was her 8th child, all girls. So I
Mhm.
have 7 sisters who were all within a £4 to £6 birth rate. So, but my mum was always quite poorly throughout her life. It's important to say that when she was 3 years old, she developed asthma, and it wasn't just an inhaler based asthma. She was on cortisone all her life, which then led her to the last 20 years of her life getting diabetes, and she was straight on insulin.
Mhm.
Um, so I've known about diabetes pretty much all of my life, understood what it can do to you, what a chronic condition it is, and regrettably, through events in my life, I've developed type 2 diabetes,
Mhm.
and that was in 2024. Um, and I think that's the time that I thought, oh, I don't want to end up like mum. And it started giving me a wake up call because I'd
Okay.
lived with it for so long. Okay.
So, so how much weight have you lost?
So I have lost 70 pounds. I
Awesome.
started, mm, I started on Monro on the 7th of January. So it's roughly about 8 months now.
Mhm.
Um, started at 19 stone 6, and now I'm 14 stone 6. So yeah, 5 stone for our British viewers.
And for our American viewers, a stone is 14 pounds.
That's right.
So
That's right.
what made you decide Monjaro as opposed to Ozempic?
Well, Ozempic is known in the United Kingdom, but I don't believe that my particular GP and diabetic nurse are in the process of giving that out. It's Monjaro really primarily
Mhm.
in the UK. even though we know about Ozempic. And how it came about was I actually thought I was going through the menopause
Mm-hmm.
because I was getting all these symptoms, hot flushes, and just not feeling very well about myself, and the weight was increasing. And I said, okay, let's go and get some bloods done. And it was actually, I was actually shocked when they came back and said, actually, Raquel, you're not quite there on the perimenopause, but what we have discovered is that you're diabetic. And that was like, whoa. Um, and from that diagnosis, and I was 81, I hope that makes sense to everybody from a diabetic perspective. I was placed on metformin twice a day, regular blood tests, regular checkups. And within those blood tests, they could see that it was increasing every single time. And several GPs, two GPs and a junior doctor, called me in October of last year. And they said, how are you feeling about yourself? And I said, I'm not really feeling very well. I'm putting on the pounds. I'm getting heavier. It's harder for me to go up a flight of stairs in my house. I'm huffing and puffing. Just walking to the bus stop has me huffing and puffing. And I really want to do something about my weight alongside my diabetes. And that is the first time in October that they said, would you be willing to entertain the weight loss Monjuro, which is also currently only being prescribed for diabetes patients? And I said, yes, please. I need to do something about it. And it was very quick for me. They kind of fast tracked me from October, and I saw my diabetic nurse in the December. I was a candidate that ticked all the boxes. BMI was 50. I've suffered from high blood pressure for at least 4 years, and now I was a type 2 diabetic. So she said, have Christmas and New Year, enjoy yourself, try and eat moderately to prepare yourself. And after the New Year's has been and gone, here's your first dosage, which is 2.5 of Monjuro. And then thereafter, you'll go up to a 5 after the first 4 weeks, and we'll regularly be in touch with you. And that's how my journey started.
Some. Um, so has your blood sugars gone down since you've started this and your blood pressure?
Yeah, my blood pressure, while sometimes it does spike, at one point, how I was diagnosed with blood pressure was again a visit to the doctor because I had an ear infection and I wanted some antibiotics. I wasn't shifting it. And he took my blood pressure and he said, are you feeling okay? And I said, I'm feeling fine apart from this ear. I can't hear anything out of this ear. And he goes, okay. And he took it another time and he took it again. And he said, actually, Raquel, I should actually be calling an ambulance because
Mm.
your blood pressure is 201 over 105. And he said, this is a silent killer. But I'm happy to say that it's now petered down to about 132 over 88. That's the average. Sometimes it
Mhm.
does peak to 140, but the average is about that at the moment. And my blood sugars, my diabetic nurse is seeing me on the 3rd of September. In the UK, I don't know how it works in the US, but you've got a portal where when you do your bloods, you can go into the portal and you can see your
Mhm.
result
Right.
and you track it right through. And I had my last blood works on the 31st of July, and I'm 38 now from a diabetic perspective. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that when she rings me on the 3rd, she's going to tell me what I think she's going to tell me from researching Google, is that, yeah, potentially I've reversed the type 2.
Awesome. It's
Mm,
always good to know that that goes into remission. Um,
yeah.
Now, I know this doesn't affect you because you're a diabetic, but the
Mhm,
recent increase in prices in the UK, uh,
mm.
what are your thoughts on that?
I I was shocked to know how much it cost per month in the US. I
Hmm.
thought, how can anyone afford that? I was absolutely shocked. And then if I thought about it, I thought, no wonder all these celebrities are on it because they can afford it, right?
Hmm.
Um, from a UK perspective, even if I hadn't been fast tracked through the NHS and I don't pay for it, and I'm very thankful and lucky, I I thought myself it's quite cheap actually. Hiking it by what I've heard 170% is outrageous because I think Monro, GLPs, Ozempic, who whatever you want to call it, is not only a life changer for
Hmm.
diabetic, but the weight loss and what it carries with it. And I think it is. I think it's the wrong thing to do for all these people that are on these weight loss jabs journeys because it's instilled a panic into people now
Hmm.
because they won't be able to afford it. And whilst I understand it's not in line with the US or Europe, 170% is not the answer here.
Yeah.
No.
Uh, from what I'm hearing, it's actually closer to 70% because some of the companies are coming out with the numbers as
Good.
September 1st approaches. So it's not quite as bad as people
Mhm,
have thought, but there is a
mhm.
lot of panic buying and a lot of places are out of it. Um,
Yeah.
After September 1st, I'm sure it'll magically reappear
Mm,
at the
mm.
new prices. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that
It's if you think about it, and obviously there's been a lot in the news in the UK, and the highest dose at £330 I've heard, but that's somebody's rent for a month
mhm,
in the UK, and you just can't sustain that type of money.
right.
So yeah, it's very unfair to have increased it, even if it's gone to 70%. That's still, it's not even in the rate of inflation.
Right.
It's it's not sustainable for people, and they must do something about it because these pharmaceuticals will monopolize this and make even more money because
Absolutely.
I'm sure
And
they don't
they're
buy it at
planning
that
it.
price. Yeah.
I mean, Eli Lilly is buying companies that are working on new GLP-1 medications so that they'll
Mm,
own the rights to it. So it'll be a true
mm,
monopoly between Novo Nordisk and Eli
mm,
Lilly.
mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's big
Yeah.
pharma. I don't know what we could do about it. I just try
Mm,
to advocate for more accessibility,
mhm,
better prices. So Eli Lilly, if you're listening, this
mm,
includes UK and other countries. Please make
mhm,
it more accessible, more affordable.
mm. Yeah.
You can make money selling it to 1 million people at a high price, or you can make even
Mm,
more money selling it
mhm,
to 30
mhm.
million at a little bit lower price.
Yeah. Yeah.
And right now, you're
Yeah.
looking like the bad guy.
Yeah.
So,
And we mustn't forget that it's saving people. Okay. I truly believe that it's saving people. and it's helping
That
people.
it is. It is definitely.
Mm.
Have you had any side effects from this medication?
The only side effects that I've had is the dreaded diarrhea. So I can have diarrhea, and I'm sorry to say, quite explosive, several times a day, consecutive days in a row, but then it just goes away. And then I go the other way and completely constipated, and incredibly cold. Oh my goodness, I have been so cold. But in the grand scheme of things, I've been lucky because
Hmm.
I can cope with the side effects that I've had.
Do you exercise along with the medication?
I've not exercised, so I said to myself, I'm going to be very honest. I've got a very sedentary sit-down job um, in logistics, which is incredibly stressful. Um, if I'm totally honest, I've never liked exercise throughout my life. It's something that I need to change, not necessarily go into the gym,
Right.
but there's the outdoors, walking, you know, playing tennis outside, badminton, whatever gets me out into the air as opposed to in four walls of a gym. So I'm working on it, Laurie. I haven't got there yet, but I'm working on it.
So, what does a day in of food look like to you?
So suppression, very good suppression on 2.5 to the point that I'd go hours, and I mean hours, 8, 9 hours, not even thinking about food, not even wanting food, but actually making myself eat. The 5 started like so, petered off in the middle, and currently the last 2 months of 5 has seen me almost like at the beginning of the 2.5, I don't even think about food. So again, I'm having to make myself eat. I do eat a lot of salads. I've always loved salads, but they're not the boring salads like just
Right.
eggs. Sorry, just tomatoes and cucumbers and salad. It'll be tuna. It'll be egg. It'll be chicken. So it's quite a substantial salad. I'm trying to lower the carbs because for me, carbs make me very bloated. So I really should have started on by saying that what my diet used to be like, actually. And that consisted of a lot of takeaways. And a lot of takeaways, mainly pizzas and kebabs, all the bad takeaways,
Hmm.
all the carbs, all the sugars, all the salts that you can think of, Chinese takeaways, etc. That has completely disappeared. And so it's a lot of salads, like I've mentioned, vegetables as many as I can. Not a lot of red meat now, and I used to be
Hmm.
an absolute lover of red meat, so that's really I'm now chicken. Um, I think I need to experiment a little bit more because if I cut out carbs completely, the rice, the potatoes, the pasta, you're kind of presented with quite a bland meal. So I need to be balancing really what works for me from a carb perspective, because what I don't want to do is get bored of eating the same things every day.
Right. Do you find that food tastes the same before you started the Monjaro as after?
Um, I find that I when I taste salt and sugar, I really taste it. So there's a massive difference. And I must have obviously reduced that intake, because when there is sugar, piece of cake, I'll be like, oof, that's so sweet. I'm sure it's not so sweet. It's always been like that. So that's the difference that I taste. And I think it's important for everyone listening that I do treat myself. On my
Hmm.
birthday, I will have a piece of cake. Why not? It's my birthday.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, every 3 to 4 weeks, I will have a takeaway, but it'll be such a reduced amount because the
Hmm.
portion have massively changed. And that's one, because I'm saying I don't need that much food on a plate now. And two,
Hmm.
because I'm just not that hungry.
How have your friends and family reacted to your transformation?
So it's only Terence, my fiance, that knows that I'm on Monjuro, and my best friend. No one else within my family knows that I'm taking it. And I think there's two things. I'm quite a private person, for one. And second, I think if I did say to them that I was on there, on Monjuro, they'd potentially have negative things to say about it. And I don't want the negativity of it. So that's the reason. So just two people
Understandable.
that know. Two people that
And
know.
hopefully your friends aren't watching YouTube, huh?
Well, they don't. They don't. And my family certainly don't. But and if they do, then I'll explain the same way that I've explained to you, Laurie, is that I didn't want them to be in a panic about it
Hmm.
and to make me think twice about being on it. For me, I went on it primarily for my blood sugars and to reduce my weight. And that's what it's done.
Do you think you're going to be on GLP-1 type of medication for life?
Well, I was told personally, and again, this is my journey, and that's what my diabetic nurse said. At the time, in December, when I went to see her, she told me that I would be on it for no more than 2 years. Whether that changes as the months and years progress within the UK, and what the NHS says about them, it's a
Hmm.
possibility. But in my mind, I've invested to stay on this for at least 2 years, unless it
Have you
changes.
have you tried any other diets in the past?
Mm, I have. I have. As I've mentioned, I was a big baby. I was a plumpy child throughout my youth, my teenage years. Um, I think also I'm, how can I call it? If I've ever been miserable, I've eaten a lot. Okay. So I'm a stress eater, and if I'm feeling low, I eat. Through some past relationships that have made, well, wanting to control me from a weight perspective, the more they said I needed to lose weight, the more miserable I got, the more I ate. So it was a vicious circle. So yes, I've been on fad diets, and I'm going to call them fad diets, like only eating soup, 3 times a day, only eating cabbage, the cabbage diet, you name it. I think the one that springs to mind most is the Cambridge diet, and I don't know if you're aware of the Cambridge diet, and that is a meal replacement with shakes. And I was on that for a year. Back in 2013, I started it. I ended it in 2014, and I was able to lose 7 stone. But I lost 7 stone so quickly, so dramatically, because these liquid diets, you're on 600, 800 calories a day.
Mm-hmm.
That's not sustainable. Okay.
No.
And whilst I plummeted and lost 7 stone, what it gave me was gallstones. And a few years later, I had to have my gallbladder removed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a direct link. And the consultants had seen many, many patients that had been on the Cambridge diet. So it's not the Cambridge diet per se, but it's this liquid replacement diet that is not giving you enough nourishment and making you drop those pounds so rapidly. So that was the most significant 7 stone loss that I've had. That was 2014. I got down to 11 stone, and a lot of people were saying I didn't look well, I didn't look healthy, I looked gaunt. And again, it's all these people saying, you don't look very well, you're too thin, which then depleted my confidence. And the cycle began where I started to eat again. And I piled it on a further
Mm-hmm.
1.5 stones to what I started. So, yeah.
Oh.
Mm.
So what do you think could be done about this bad stigma that these medications have, if anything?
I think there's always going to be a bad stigma about them, Laurie, because people some people are genuinely concerned that some will not be taking it for the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will not understand the genetics of it because they've heard everything on the news but haven't researched it. All I would say is do a little bit of research,
Absolutely.
see what good it's doing. With all medication, even a simple antibiotic like penicillin can have side effects. So understand what those side effects are, um, and be kind to the person that's trying to better
Okay. I
themselves.
guess we're back. We're back. Sorry.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. That's
internet
okay.
problem. Um,
That's okay.
so how quickly did you start seeing changes on the GLP-1 medication?
So I started seeing changes after I'd lost the 3 stone. I started to be able to walk further without getting out
Mm-hmm.
of breath. I started simply being able to get out of bed without having to roll out of bed.
Uh-huh.
Um, my back felt better and more agile. My knees felt better and more agile. I used to suffer constantly with very puffy, retaining water around my ankles and feet. Um, I still live in flip flops, but I think that's just something that's in my mind because I can wear normal shoes now. But normal shoes were a no go because the minute I would have them on for 20, 30 minutes, my ankles would swell up. That started disappearing after three stone.
Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the point where I thought, oh, you know what? I'm feeling better about myself.
So has GLP-1 medications changed your relationship with food? You mentioned that you like to uh, eat um, at certain times emotionally. Has that
Hmm.
changed at all?
It definitely has, because not to get too way into
Mhm,
it, but I have had 3 bereavements in the past 12
mhm,
months.
mhm.
And most recent one was my father, who lived with me, and I looked after him, Terence and I. He had Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease, and he passed away in March. I wholeheartedly believe if I was not on Monjuro, I would have eaten myself to possibly an early grave.
Mm. Now, you mentioned Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. There's a lot of research going on that this medication actually helps prevent it. Are you excited about that part of it?
Yeah, if I'm excited about what this drug can potentially do for um, future things, such as you've mentioned, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. I've even heard and read some cancers.
Right,
Um, very hot topic, will always be a hot topic in the UK, is, alcohol consumption. How it suppresses that, how it's helping with people's mental health.
right,
I think I think this drug is revolutionary. It's not
absolutely.
just about diabetics and how it's making you lose weight. I think it's so much more, and they have to invest time and money to really discover what this drug can do for others. So yeah,
Mhm.
if it can help with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, please. I hope anybody that does suffer from that gets it for free, Laurie, no matter where you are in the world, if
As
it's
far
going to
as
help
I
them.
know, these are the first medications that actually are for the prevention rather than
Wow,
just to treat it. So, like, to me, that's huge.
that's
Now,
massive.
I
That is
can't talk
massive.
to somebody. I can't talk to somebody in the UK and not mention the golden dose. Do you use your golden dose?
I've never done it. I've never done it, and the reason why I don't do it is because I stick to the rules. So if my consultant and my diabetic nurse is going to say, this is a pen and it's for 4 weeks, discard it afterwards, that's what I'll do. I don't want to mess around with physics. I never
Mhm.
have. So that's the only reason that I won't do it. Anyone else that wants to do it, absolutely fine if it works for you. I've heard, some people will take a half a dose at the beginning of the week and then half a dose towards whatever works for you. I'm not a judgmental person. I hope people don't judge me for saying what I've just said, that I don't do the golden dose. It's whatever works for you.
So, what do you do on days that you're not motivated in your journey to get yourself remotivated to eat properly and do what you're supposed to do?
Touch wood. I'm touching wood. I've not had any days like that, Laurie.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, I want to do this so badly. I want to better myself. I don't want to be dependent on tablets. I don't want to get to the stage where insulin is what's going to keep me alive. I don't want to see the pain and the struggles I saw with my mum.
I hear you. So, um, have you had any stalls or plateaus in your journey?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've had plateaus, and there's a pattern to the plateaus. So I'll plateau 2 weeks in a trot, and then I'll lose a pound, or I'll lose 3 pounds. Then I'll plateau again for another 2 weeks. I've gained. I went on annual leave in July to Spain. I went back home to see my sisters, and I ate what I craved, in the sense that my favorite food to eat is paella. Don't know if you've heard of it. That's the national dish of
Hmm.
Spain. And
Absolutely.
I wanted a paella. So I had a paella. If I wanted all the Parma hams, I really don't know whether or not you're going to understand these words, because I know that you've got different words in the US. So there's something that's called lomo, which is like cured meat. Yeah, so they eat a lot of cured meat, a lot of cured sausages, salamis based, etc. The bread over there is just delicious. So during that week, I ate sensibly, but I ate what I've
Hmm.
craved. That you can't really get as good a food like the Spanish food in the UK. And I thought by the end of the week, I thought, oh my God, I've put on a stone. Oh my God, 14 pounds. I was pleasantly surprised that I only put on 4 pounds. Okay. But I was straight back on it, because whilst I was in Spain, I didn't have a break. I did take my pen with me, and I had, because I inject every Tuesday. So I got back onto the routine of, okay, healthier eating, no more paellas, no more cured hams and sausages, and almost had an effect like I'd been my body was craving more calories because something happened. And this was only at the beginning of July. So I put on 4 pounds straight on it. And ever since the week after, so we came back on the 14th of July. And ever
Hmm.
since then, I've already dropped 10 pounds. So it's almost
Wow.
like
Hmm.
I've dropped the 4 and some more. And
Absolutely.
I've not plateaued as yet. So it's almost like it's given me this boost of extra calories, and my body's kind of recalibrated itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It does that because of the
Mm-hmm.
metabolic adaptation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
your your body gets used to so many calories. And
Mm-hmm.
like I always tell people, when you've tried other things if you're on a stall or a plateau, it's the
Mm-hmm.
old cheeseburger trick where, you just go out, have a
Yeah.
cheeseburger, maybe one or two fries, don't go
Yeah.
crazy, let
Yeah.
your body get used to something different and then go back to
Mm-hmm.
it. So, your body just
Mm-hmm.
sees the change and it reacts that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually a
Yeah.
scientific
Mm. Yeah.
thing. So
And I
that's
think
great
that's
that that
what's
happened.
happened. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's what's happened. And
So
also, mhm, go
you
on.
inject on Tuesdays. Do you have a favorite
Yeah.
spot? Stomach,
Oh,
arms, legs?
always in my tummy, always in the stomach. Yeah. I've
Me
not
too.
tried
I'm that
arms.
way.
I've not tried legs. It's worked on my stomach. Why break it? Yeah.
Are you a daily weigher or a weekly weigher or
I weigh every day. Every
you do?
day. I don't think I could wait a whole week. And I've noticed something. So for 8 months, whatever happens on a Saturday, I don't know why it is, I weigh my lowest. But by the Tuesday, that's my current weight. And from a Saturday to a Tuesday, and I don't do anything differently really, it's always a pound or two more. But I've still lost. Yeah. But on a Saturday, for whatever reason, I'm at my lowest weight. I wish
Oh, that,
I wish I'd started taking the readings on Saturdays now.
that kind of makes sense because of the half-life being like 5 days. That would put you right about Saturday.
Yeah,
So, then it's not quite as strong in your system at that
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I weigh myself daily, and I don't get upset if it's,
Mm,
a pound or two difference because, you know,
mm,
I'm used to it for one thing, and it helps me guide myself through the week. Because if I do go up a pound or a pound and a half during,
mhm,
midweek, I know, oh, I got to watch it just a little bit better, so it's
mhm,
helps
mhm,
me. I know
mhm.
that's my
And
journey.
I think a lot of it is water retention, because I do
Mhm.
not believe for 1 second you can put a pound or 2 pounds on physically from a calorific perspective. You'd have to eat so many calories to be able to put 1 or 2 pounds of fat. So that's going to be the fluctuation of the water within your body, 100%.
Absolutely. So let me just look at my notes here. What would you tell somebody just starting their journey or thinking about starting their journey?
Do some research about it. Don't just go on with what the news tells you. I spent days, if not weeks, uh, researching about Monjoro, the good and the bad. Do it for the right reasons. And by that I mean I'm I see a lot of groups within Facebook,
Hmm.
and a lot of ladies are 9 stone, 8 stone, and they want to lose a stone. And I don't believe they're doing it for the right reasons. Do it for the right reasons, to make yourself better health wise, not because you want to drop a dress size when your BMI specifically tells you that actually for your height and your weight you're bordering not being healthy. And that's what I would say to people: do it for the right reason, do your research, and not because you just want to lose a dress size and you're already 8 stone, because then you're going to make yourself ill.
So, what is your thoughts on food noise? I know I didn't even know or understand what food noise was until after I
Mm,
started taking the medication. What was your
mm.
experience with food noise?
I didn't know what it was. I'd never heard of it, but now I know what it is, because it's this little voice that tells you that biscuit, well, I'll have another biscuit, and after I've had half a biscuit, a half the packet of biscuits, oh, there's a chocolate bar there, and instead of having 2 or 3 bits of the chocolate, you'll have the full chocolate bar. Uh, It's incredible. It's incredible that it's completely gone. The food noise has completely gone. I'm not saying that that's every single day throughout the 8 months, because I do think there is this little voice that tells you in the back, always saying, "Oh, go on, have that. That'll be okay." Yeah, you got to work at it. You got to work at it, and I think that's probably one of the things that um, not concerns me, but I'm a little bit frightened that when my journey ends, is this food noise going to take over? Is it going to be bigger than myself, and I'm not going to be able to control it, because it's a game changer.
I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, they're actually having or looking into maintenance programs of
Mm,
possibly either stretching the dose out or staying at your current dose and just adding,
mm,
a few more carbs back in. Some people are
mm,
lowering their dose so that they could eat just a little bit more and maintain. But
mm,
that is the thinking in the US.
mm.
I don't know if they're thinking like that in the UK.
I don't know. I've not heard or read anything. like I said, this is what my diabetic nurse said. Potentially, as I hit 18 months, 20 months, she will potentially start mentioning, okay, let's have you on this. I think it will benefit you, etc., etc. And I'll go on her guidance, basically.
In my opinion, one of the new medications coming out, or Forglipron, which is also made by Eli Lilly, which is a daily pill. They say it's not quite as effective. I think for me and for a lot of people, that may be a good option for maintenance. Because one, it's a pill, not that I mind a shot, but it's pretty simple just to add it in your daily pill. And I don't care if it's not quite as effective. I'm using it for maintenance, and it's supposed to be quite a bit cheaper because it's not going to need refrigeration and so forth. I don't know if you've looked into any of the next generation of medications coming out. You sound like a research person, so yeah, I thought you
Yeah,
might
I
have
have,
looked
I
into them.
have, I have heard of this little tiny pill every single day that you take, as opposed to the shots. I don't think the UK is quite there. Um, you, or if they're there, they're not talking about it.
Well, it's not out
Uh,
yet. It's not going to be out
yeah.
for almost a year.
All right. Okay. Okay. I think it's definitely good that they're thinking ahead. What other things can we do to help people maintain? Um, I can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So, during your journey, have have you thought? Have you ever come off? Uh, Sorry, what do you take? GLP-1s they're called in the US. Have you ever come
Well,
off
I
it?
take
Um,
tirzepatide,
oh,
which is the
trazepatine.
same as
So have you?
which is the same as Monjaro.
Oh, okay. So have you ever had to come off it for a considerable amount of time
No.
if you were having, like an operation or anything like that? No. And that's the thing. It's the unknown, isn't it? It's the unknown for me. You know, what is going to happen? Am I going to need to maintain something, a pill or Monjaro for the rest of my life? Or am I going to be able to do it for me, to be able to
Hmm.
change my mindset on exercise and a good diet? Or is it within my genetics that I will always possibly gain weight, even if I do the exercise and I eat healthily? That could be it.
Right.
And
They're saying that because it's the disease of obesity that
Mhm,
uh, you know this controls it, and could put it in remission, but like high blood pressure and
mhm,
diabetes, you'll always have it. It's just in
yeah, it
remission.
didn't.
And for
Yeah.
me right now, I'm planning on taking some sort of GLP-1 or
Mhm,
equivalent type of medication for life, because it is a disease. And I've tried many diets, and I have gone down in weight, and you pretty much regain it. And I know
mhm,
that maintenance is one of the key problems with any diet.
mhm.
You lose it, and even if you
And
come
you
off
regain.
GLP-1, statistically, the majority of people are going to regain it back over
Mhm,
2 years.
mhm.
So, it's like, I don't
Yeah,
want to do that.
yeah. I mean, I think it's important that people should start recognizing that food is an addiction, just like alcohol, cigarettes,
Hmm.
and drugs. But they've never really recognized food as being in the same league as them. But it really is,
And
and
not have it.
exactly, exactly. They've got rehab for alcohol. Someone that's an alcoholic. They've got patches and chewing gums to get you off smoking, rehabs for drugs that you go, for a stint of 30, 60 days, whatever it is. But they've never done anything about food. In fact, if you're overweight or obese, they always target you as you're lazy, you eat too much.
Mhm.
I don't think it's as simple as that.
No, it's
I
a
really
disease.
don't.
They've
Yeah, yeah,
officially made it a disease,
yeah.
according to WHO and then the American Medical Association. So, yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, but
that's
it's
just my
taken a long
opinion.
time. It's taken a long time for
It has.
anybody to be recognizing that, and it should happen years and years ago because it's been going for very many years. Yeah.
And my now ex-doctor used to always say, "Oh, well, just, eat a little bit less,
Mm,
exercise a little bit more," which is why he's my ex-doctor now. But
mm,
it's, always,
mm,
well, not all, hopefully not always, but it takes years and years and years to
mhm,
grow out of that kind of thinking.
mhm,
But hopefully
mhm,
this will help them.
mhm. Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Gosh, it is revolutionary. It really is.
So, do you
Really.
have any closing statements, remarks, anything you want to say?
Um. oof, I just this has really changed my life, and it's
Hmm.
continuing to change my life. And my journey hasn't ended by by no means. I still want to get to a target weight, um, be it another 2 stone, another 2.5 stone. I still want to explore what happens afterwards. I have so many questions to ask the medical profession when I do see them, and I get to that stage. Um, it's not over. And I think being obese, overweight will carry you throughout your life. And it's not something that you can just lock away in a box and forget about it. It's gonna be there all the time. It's not gonna go away. So yeah, um, you've started making me think about what am I going to do next? Is this maintenance the way forward? Because I'm not at my target weight yet, so I'm not thinking that far ahead because I have set little goals for myself. But
Hmm.
now, as I reach them, I need to now think, what's next? What can you offer me so that I can live uh, a most healthiest life that I can, and extend my life as much as I can and enjoy it, because I wasn't enjoying my life in
Hmm.
January. I'm now starting to enjoy my life. I'm starting
That's
to get
awesome.
some confidence back. I'm starting to like myself. I still, when I look at myself in the mirror, see fat, but you have to work on that because I'm a
Absolutely.
lot smaller than I was. I know that because the scales don't lie to me. But what I
Hmm.
see in the mirror still tells me that it's not quite there yet, And I think that voice will always be there, you know. And I want that voice to lessen, and make me feel
Hmm.
better. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing your journey so far with us. Hopefully, people have found this useful. Everybody's journey is different. What
Yeah.
works for us may not necessarily work for you, but hopefully, as you're hearing about other people's journeys, you'll learn bits and pieces from everybody's and
Mhm.
have your own journey. So,
No.
again, thank you very much.
Thank
It's been a
you.
pleasure.
Thank you for inviting
And
me.
hopefully in another 4 to 6 months, we could maybe do a follow-up, see how your journey has gone.
Yeah, I'd love that. And thank you very much. I really do enjoy everything that you do post. I
Thank
don't know
you.
how you do it because, you've got a full-time job and a wife and a home to keep. And, you keep posting them. And as much as I can, I will, review them and listen to them because
I appreciate that.
they're all very different. You're not sticking to just the one thing. I specifically liked, you posted about what it does to your eyes and stuff. So it's very informative. So I really do
Hmm.
enjoy it, and
Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
you really are successful in what you're doing, Laurie. So thank you for inviting me. And yes, absolutely, let's chat again.
Okay, that's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thank you.
Okay, so